I would tell SLPs who stutter that no matter what they hear from their program, that there is a place for them in the speech pathology community, and that there are so many people who stutter and people who don't stutter who could benefit from having a speech pathologist who stutters or with a communication difference. I was told quite frequently throughout school that my stutter was going to be a hindrance. My stutter was going to impact the client. My stutter was going to mean people didn't want to work with me. My stutter was going to mean I would be a bad influence. And I haven't found any of that to be the case. What I found is that my stutter helps me better relate to and communicate with other people who stutter. But my stutter has also helped me to relate more to people with other communication differences. I work with people with all sorts of differences, including autism. I worked with people with language and articulation differences, and in reality, my stutter has been a connection point. It's helped me relate to being on the other side of that table. So I would tell SLPs who stutter that there is a place for them and that we need them. We need understanding, resilient, compassionate clinicians. And I find all of those attributes within the stuttering community. I would tell them if they face any obstacles to advocate for themselves, to not take these comments to heart, because in reality they're needed and they're wanted, and they're so capable of being amazing clinicians. And I don't want some professor or faculty members' comments to stop them from pursuing their dreams. In the future, first off, I'm learning what it's like to be a clinician. For so long, like, I've only had my own perspectives as a person who stutters and to fall back on, but now I spend all day, every day getting to work with people who stutter. I've learned so much more about the different ways stuttering can impact a person, the way that it can change a person's life. I've learned how different cultures react to stuttering and how different cultures handle how people in different cultures handle having the stutter. I've learned that stuttering impacts people in every country and every culture who speak every language, and I've learned that it truly isn't just me who stutters, that it's not even truly just people in America who stutters. Like, stuttering is such a diverse worldwide community. And so that's something that I really enjoyed getting to learn more about in the last couple of years. In the future, I'm thinking more of how can I continue to advocate on a broader scale? How can I change the way SLPs learn about stuttering? How can I get more stuttering education out to SLPs? How can I change the way SLPs are treated in graduate schools so they don't have the same experience that I do? I think the future is going to be bright, and I think there's so many different ways that I can continue to change the experiences of people who stutters. And ultimately, I think that starts with a lot of small change. You know, I have big ideas and big dreams, but educating a person here, advocating here, I think lots of small change can really result in big change. So that's kind of what I'm looking to in the future. The NSA is an amazing resource for SLPs. Not only do they provide workshops at the conference for SLPs, but the Professional Relations Committee is really actively trying to connect with SLPs to encourage them to come to NSA meetings, to talk with people who stutter. I've talked with a lot of SLPs just at this conference, and they've shared with me that talking one-on-one directly with people who stutter is more educational than sometimes a lecture is. So I think the NSA provides a really amazing opportunity for both at the conference and also just in their chapters for SLPs to ask questions that they couldn't ask the textbook. Most of their education oftentimes comes from SLPs who or professors who don't stutter. And so I think hearing about the experiences of people who stutter can be so beneficial and help guide their practice as well and get better understanding of the impact that their clinical decisions have. I love being involved with NSA both as an SLP but also as a chapter leader. I've lived in Georgia my whole life, and for a very long time I didn't know that there was a stuttering community there. But now that I do, I love the first time that new participants, that new adults who come to our chapter, the first time they get to meet people who stutter, the first time they hear people who stutter. That's such an amazing moment, and I love being that connection point. And at those meetings, like, I get to be not as much an SLP, but also just a person who stutters. And I love both parts of my identity, and oftentimes they do go hand in hand. But at NSA, there's times to be SLP Caitlin, and there's times to educate, but then there's also times just to be present within my community. And I think that's really powerful. The Professional Relations Committee does a lot of different things to further connect speech pathologists with the stuttering community. We host online workshops and recruit speakers to talk about different things happening within stuttering research, stuttering treatment. So we hold free workshops for SLPs to attend, usually in the afternoons or the evenings, free of charge, to get more information about stuttering. So that's been a big thing. We also help coordinate SLP workshops that are present at the conference to make sure that there are high quality informational workshops at the conference for SLPs to engage with, not only so they can learn more about stuttering, but that gets them in the door to meet more people who stutter and connect with the stuttering community more thoroughly. We also have recently started an initiative to encourage SLPs to attend some select NSA meetings to get to observe and learn more from the perspectives of people who stutter. I believe St. Louis just hosted one where they, like, kind of a SLP open house where they had a typical chapter meeting, but SLPs were invited to come and observe and learn more about what happens at an NSA meeting, in the hope that when they meet people who stutter, they'll be able to let them know that there's a whole community here, so they don't have to go as long as I did without having that community. St. Louis just had one. I believe Atlanta will be having one sometime in the fall, and we hope to continue to expand this just so we can get local SLPs engaging with their local chapter. My voice matters because I have something to say. I think all of us want to be seen, want to be heard. For people who don't stutter, that isn't ever questioned. But with people who stutter, for some reason, maybe it's due to stigma. There's still a lot of stigma about stuttering in our society. People have a lot of negative thoughts about it. Again, this can be perpetuated by the media. There's stereotypes. There's a lot of negative stigma and misinformation out there. But people who stutter are truly some of the best communicators that I know, myself included. I have something to say. It may take me a little bit longer, but I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be a part of the conversation. I may communicate differently, but I think we all communicate differently. Some people, especially where I'm from, I know some people with some real Southern accents, that's a communication difference. I know people who stutter. That's a communication difference. We all communicate in our own ways, and they're all extremely valid. And so I think as a society, we need to be doing better about making sure that we're listening to all of the voices and not just the ones that present typically.